Hello. Recently, I've made a couple of videos about why people should read. This one is another one of those videos, but it's a little bit different. Reading, as I have said many times over the last few weeks, is one of the best ways to learn a language. Here's a list of reasons that I have explained in the past, so I'm not going to explain again. You can go and watch those other videos, and I recommend you do. Last time I made a video about student mistakes, people who were learning English. This time though, these are native speaker mistakes. Again, I'm not making fun of these people. I'm not pointing my finger and laughing at them, but these are mistakes that we really don't want to be making. Secondly, I think and I hope that these are not typos. So one or two of them may be, but in my judgment, the mistakes are probably not just because somebody made a typing mistake. They're probably because somebody didn't know how to spell the word. Okay, let's get started. First of all, actions speak louder than words. This, like a couple of other mistakes that we're going to look at, is actually much more likely to be made by a native speaker than by an ESL student. So you should be able to see this problem already. Actions speak louder than words. No, actions speak louder than words. Now, depending on the specific accent of where you live, these words might sound a little bit different, or they might sound exactly the same. But when we write them, we need to know how to spell it. So then is T-H-E-N is about a time sequence or part of a conditional. Than is a comparison, okay, louder than words. This is another one. It's much more likely that native speakers are going to make this mistake than non-native speakers. If I had done that, it would not have mattered. Do you see the problem? Not of, but have. If I had done that, it would not have mattered. So F and V are actually really close in terms of sound. It's understandable why native speakers make this mistake, but if they read more often, they wouldn't. Next, this is due to the poor quality of the product. Now, the way I just said that sounds fine, but there's a mistake here as well. This is due to, no, that's the wrong spelling. Again, depending on the specific accent of where you live, those words might sound exactly the same, or they might sound a little bit different. Here, if I'm speaking very carefully, I might say this is due instead of this is due. But in a lot of versions of English, those words would sound exactly the same, but they're not spelled the same. This is due to, this is because of, okay? It was because of this reason that something happened. I went by there the other day. We need this preposition here. Now, if you look in the English keyboard, the letters U and Y are right beside each other. So this one is possible. It was just a typo, but those are really words that people should know. Okay, so if you make that mistake, you really should be able to catch it and to fix it. The caterpillars, so they're little, if you can imagine like a worm with feet, that's what caterpillars are, kind of. I am not a biologist. The caterpillars stripped the tree bare. Now, this says something quite different than what it actually means. So strip the tree, it means kind of took something away from the tree. In this case, what caterpillars do is they eat leaves. So in this case, they stripped the tree, they took or they ate all the leaves. But it wasn't a bear, a big furry animal. Yeah. They stripped the tree bare, B-A-R-E, which means with nothing on it. Okay, so naked, right? Without clothes, kind of. Next, That's why it's sold in the electronics aisle. Now again, this is only one letter off, but because the word, there's our mistake, aisle, because the word aisle, I-S-L-E, is another word, I think probably the person who wrote this just doesn't understand the difference or doesn't know the difference. This is how we should spell it. So an aisle in this case is when you go to a store and there's like the long rows, and there's things to buy on this side and things to buy on this side, and you walk down the middle. That's the aisle, and we spell that with an A. Aisle, by the way, I-S-L-E, if that's a new word for you, it's another word that we use for island in certain situations. If you see this ad, the car is still for sale. Again, I guess this could be a typo, but because ADD is a word, and because, again, it's such a short word, you really, even if this is a typo, I mean, you really should read what you write before you send it out to the world to look at. If you see this ad, the car is still for sale. ADD is short for advertisement. This next one, I actually saw this in a picture on the internet where they were making fun of people, to be honest. Please use tongues or tissue paper when making your selection. Now, this was in a bakery. I'll help you understand this a little bit. Please use tongues. Well, that's your tongue. And if you're in a bakery and you're using your tongue to make your selection, to choose what you want to buy, that's probably not a good idea. So that's the problem here. The correct spelling here is tongs. And again, we can hear that those words are pretty similar. Tongues, tongs. Vowel sound is a little bit different. Those are tongs, by the way. It's a much better idea when you go to the bakery to use tongs than it is to use tongues. Next, no smoking allowed. This one is definitely not a typo. This one is just the person doesn't know the difference between these two words, which sound exactly the same, but have very different meanings. No smoking allowed means no smoking out loud. Basically, it means you have to smoke quietly. But that's not what the person who, this was on a sign, that's not what the person who wrote the sign meant. What they meant was no smoking allowed. You are not allowed to smoke here. Next, careful. This, again, is definitely not a typo. This is a case somebody has heard something and they have never seen it written down because they don't read. Careful, it's doggy dog out there. This might be a new one for you. This one might be difficult. You probably spotted where the problem is, doggy dog. Doesn't work. The phrase is, it's dog eat dog. So dog eat dog means people are being very aggressive. It's maybe a little bit dangerous. It's very competitive. So it's dog eat dog out there. If you're going to go shopping the day before Christmas, you better be careful because it's going to be dog eat dog out there. People are not going to be kind and gentle. They're panicking because they have to get Christmas presents that day. Okay, so again, not making fun, but just giving you more reasons why it is so important to read. I made a video about ESL learners, so I thought it was only fair to make a video about native speakers as well. And again, as we talked about, some of the mistakes here are much more likely to be made by native speakers than non-native speakers. Okay, so good for you. So the point of the last few weeks of these videos, once again, is that reading will change your life. You didn't really think I would make that mistake, did you? I read. Okay, that's all for today. Have a good day. Bye-bye. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe and notify.